Hi, everyone. Welcome to our first community call. I apologize for starting a bit late. I had some internet problems, but now we are ready to go. Thank you so much for joining us. We had an amazing 2021 at Appsmith. So I want to talk a little bit about that. And I also want to talk about a few new features that we've just released and show those to you. So let's get started. Uh, First, we're going to just talk a little bit about how our last year went. And for that, we've actually released this uh, amazing website that goes over everything that we achieved. And I don't know if some of you have had a chance to check that out yet. So let me just. Hi, I'm sorry, I lost my internet there for a second, and uh, I'm having a little bit of a problem, but I'm back now. So, like I was saying, this is the first community call of the year. I'm really excited to show you a lot of the work that we've done last year, as well as talk about few new interesting features that we released end of last year, as well as something that we released today. So let's get started with that. Uh, I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay, so I think all of you can see my screen here. So, like I said, it's the first community call of the year. I'm really excited. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. Uh, Firstly, I want to spend a few minutes just reviewing how our 2021 went. 2021 was the first full year of Appsmith. We had launched towards the later end of 2020, and we were a really fresh new project when we launched. It was buggy, it wasn't really easy to use, there wasn't enough documentation, a lot of problems. But 2021 was the year when we put our heads down, focused a lot on getting the product features right, created a lot of documentation, and also created a lot of tutorials, YouTube videos, and most importantly, answered a lot of support requests. So here's a quick snapshot of what happened in 2021. We went from about 1,000 GitHub stars to over 10,000 by the end of 2021. So that was like a really rapid growth, and that's all really thanks to all of you who've been generous enough to check out the project and star us. We also released 184 features. Now, that sounds crazy, right? But the thing is, AppSmith is such a complicated product that we've released multiple updates to our widgets, as well as multiple widgets, multiple integrations, multiple ways of using those integrations, multiple coding enhancements like debugger, JS editor, linting, so it really did add up to 184 features. That's nearly like one feature every 2 days. And I'm very proud of our engineering team, the designers, as well as the QA team who've worked very hard to put these out in your hands. Uh, the second thing is that we saw about 80,000 apps built on AppSmith. Now, this is just an approximation because we don't get data from most of our self-hosted instances. So we honestly don't know the exact number, but from the data that we have, we estimate it's about definitely. Now that's a lot of apps that were built by users. Uh, talking about the community, we've had about 168 contributors in total, uh, and most of these contributors are outside the Appsmith team. So thank you very much for contributing and making Appsmith better for everybody. And today we have around 2,000 plus Discord community members. So we have an active Discord. If you've not discovered it, you should go find it on our GitHub page. Then the second thing is we added about 1,000 YouTube subscribers. As you know, we publish 1 or 2 videos every week, and that has resulted in a lot of views and a lot of subscribers. And finally, most importantly, we've closed 297 community contributed issues. So if you had a doubt, does Appsmith team listen to community members or not? This hopefully is proof enough for that, because we did close 297 issues that were reported by users. And we were very, very grateful that people took out the time, reported those issues, and we got a chance to fix that. Let me talk a little bit about the features that we worked on. You can find the entire list by just going to this URL, appsmith.com year in review 2021. We'll also post this in our YouTube chat. Here we've actually listed down all the 184 features that we worked on. Now, starting with the latest one, which is the SMTP plugin that I'm going to just talk about in a few minutes, to introducing upgrades to all our data sources, like typecasting in Postgres, prepared statements, adding authentication types to our REST API connector. Then we created the ability to generate CRUD app from any database. We made improvements to the button widget, added just so many widgets out there. Today we are at about 39 widgets as of today, and most of them were created in the year 2021. We also introduced a way by which you can choose a layout for your mobile devices, a layout for iPads, or for larger screens. As you can see, it's a really long list here, but all of these were really well received by users, so I'm quite happy about this. One of the features that you might or might not have used so much is the real-time commenting feature. Now, this is a feature that's especially useful when you're building an application with other business team members, like product managers or customer support people, whoever is using the application. Now, this feature is especially useful so that you can communicate right where the app is being built. And that's what makes it so amazing. Check this out if you haven't already. So yeah, this is a really long list. One of the most recent major features that we worked on was the JS editor. I think a lot of you have already tried it out, because we've gotten such great feedback about this, and we're also improving this very rapidly. We are introducing the ability to load JS on page load, and we are introducing fetch, async, await, all of those functions, so that they can work in Appsmith, because today they are not ready yet, but all of these are actually going to go live this month. So just moving on, let's talk a little bit about what does the next year look like. So next year, these are some of the main features that we'll be doubling down on. Number one is reusable widgets and queries. You will be able to save widgets and reuse them again and again. You'll be able to do the same thing for any data source query. This means if you've built, let's take an example where you've built like a customer view card. You have a container with all the details of a customer, and that may be talking to a particular Postgres query. You can now save this as a reusable widget and use it multiple times in every app that you're building. So that's something that's going to be coming out. Then we'll have role-based access control, granular audit logs, custom JS libraries. I know this is probably one of the most awaited features. We've already started working on it, and you should see this go live uh, in like maybe like 2 months. That's my estimate right now. We'll also be working on much better mobile support. Today, Appsmith apps are not responsive, but in 2022, they will be responsive. This is a major project for us, and we are very excited to make Appsmith much better for any mobile device. Initially, these are going to be mobile responsive apps, web apps, that is, not native apps. Uh, but that I believe actually is the first thing that we should do, and native apps we might tackle it in the future. We'll also be introducing a lot of application templates. We'll be introducing sidebar navigation, custom branding, SSO, native GraphQL, custom theming that's already very close to being finished, and a lot of new widgets and integrations. So this is a very short list of things that we'll be working on. This year is definitely going to be even more active and even more productive versus last year, because today we are a much bigger team versus when we started the year. This year, when last year when we started, we were just over 10 people, but now we are much bigger. So we expect to ship out these features a lot quicker. So if you've not checked out the site, you should definitely check this out and read through a lot of these details. Now let's go back to the presentation. So next, I want to talk about the new features. I'm going to talk about 3 new features that are already live, and then I'm going to talk about a feature that's work in progress and just show that to you. So the first one is we've introduced a native SMTP plugin to trigger emails. Before this, you had to use SendGrid or some other emailing service, SendGrid, SendBird, one of those services to send out emails. But with this SMTP plugin, you can actually connect to an email provider like Gmail, Outlook, any of these popular email services, and use that to send out emails. So once you connect, you could actually configure from email to emails. And like in every Appsmith input, you can add JavaScript here. So you can actually dynamically create emails that need to go out. And that I think is incredibly powerful and useful. So do check out this feature. You're going to find it on the data sources page in Appsmith. And that's where you can actually go try this out. The next feature is a widget. Actually, the next 2 features are new widgets. The first one is the switch group widget. Now, before this, you had to choose every switch one by one and place it, but we simplified it and created a switch group widget. And you can either have this vertically arranged or horizontally arranged. And this is great for long forms where you have where you need the users to agree or disagree to certain things, or say yes or no to some things. So the switch group widget is very similar to the checkbox group widget. If you have a checkbox group widget, you can basically just you replace it with the switch group widget and kind of achieve the same thing. This is again live. It went live in the last week of December, so do check that out. The next one is the progress bar widget. Now, the progress bar widget is really useful if you need to show the status of a certain process. And we've introduced a determinate bar as well as an indeterminate bar. What's the difference between determinate and indeterminate bar? Now, in case of an indeterminate bar, it simply is going to be a loading bar. It's going to keep loading till the process completes. It's very similar to, let's say, like the uh, some of these loading bars that you might see on uh, like some of these old websites. That's the first thing that I can think of, or loading bars that you see in some of these Apple apps, where when it's loading, it just keeps moving back and forth. So that's one of the ways by which you can use the progress bar. The other way is the determinate one. where you can decide a scale of 0 to 100, 0 to 1000, and then you can decide what should the value be at all points in time. And because you can use JS here, you can very easily control what's being shown here. So these are some of the three new features that we are already live with. Now I'm going to switch, and I'm going to switch now and actually show you a deploy preview uh, of a new feature that we've all been working on. Uh, I'm just going to take a second to just find that deploy preview because uh, my browser crashed and I lost those, but I'm just gonna find that right here. The deploy preview that I'm talking about is actually the deploy preview for our Entity Explorer. Uh, today, today the Entity Explorer that we have is a little difficult to use when you have a lot of entities, a lot of files, and a lot of widgets. So we've tried to update that. And I've already shown you a design of this a few weeks ago, but today I want to show you the actual deploy preview. And I also want to share it with you so that you can go ahead and try this yourself. And so the deploy preview link, we'll paste it in the YouTube comment, and you'll just need to log in using a demo account. Okay, so we're going to paste this link here. Now, meanwhile, let me just go on and share my screen. Okay, so this is so let's just open a clean new page here. Now this is the new deploy preview. This is what it looks like. So you have all these pages organized up here, and then under every page you can basically see only the widgets that belong to that page. This means that this list is not going to be cluttered. If you compare it with what's there today, today's list actually looks fairly cluttered because we show all the pages together. You're also going to be able to see only those data sources which are available in this page. So let's say I create this new API, and I'm only going to see this under page 2 right here. So this really makes it easy for you to find what you need, and you're never going to be confused about what widgets belong to where. Uh, so if I go to page 1 where we have a bunch of other widgets, I'm going to see all of them listed right here. And if I click on a widget like the list widget, which is a selection of more widgets, I can actually see the container and other widgets that are under it. So if you can see here, you can now see a very clear hierarchy. You can see that there's a list, then there's a container, and then there are these 3 widgets inside this. Okay, I think this is not loading that well. Let's find a different application. So the idea behind improving and updating the Entity Explorer was to make everything a lot easier to find and a lot easier to use right here. So as you can see here, there's just page 1, and then there are multiple queries right under this. Now do try this out and let us know what you think of this. If you have any feedback about this, please do leave those comments on YouTube or in our Discord channel, and we'd be very excited to go ahead and fix them. And I want to really thank David Bamboo as well as uh, Joseph Petty and Paul Chambles, who've been giving us a lot of good feedback about the Entity Explorer. And that's one of the reasons why this has improved so much. Some of our earlier designs weren't as good, weren't as well thought out, but I feel now we've come to something that's actually really good. So now with this is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll see you on a different call. Now, I want to talk to you about one of our next calls that's happening. That's a call that's happening with FaunaDB. It's an event that we are doing in partnership with FaunaDB, which is a cloud database, and that's something that's going to happen on 13th January at the same time. And 13th January is basically next week, Thursday. So do keep an eye out for that live session. That's going to be really exciting. I'm going to paste the Luma link in in YouTube live chat. Please do go sign up here, and we're really excited about working with FaunaDB. So together we'll be building a low-code CRM using FaunaDB and Appsmith. So do sign up for this. If there are any questions, I'm happy to take them now. Otherwise, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. I'm going to wait a minute for a few more questions. And if there are none, then I'll go ahead and end the call. I'd also love to know how was your new year and how was 2021 for you. Uh, if you built something new, feel free to share that on chat here. I'd love to take a look at it. If there's something that you've built on Appsmith, we would love to take a look at it. Or if you have any advice for us for the new year, again, please feel free to leave that in comments. Isra, our on-page load JS feature will be live in about, I would say, in a month. Let me just pull up the pull request here for you so that I can just check the status. But it's pretty, it's under review, and it's pretty close to being completed. Yeah, so my guess is definitely this month. I'm gonna just share my screen and show you the PR. We'll also paste the PR in the YouTube live chat. But if you just go to Appsmith repo, look at pull request 9984, you can see the current state of this project. So we started working on it 2 weeks ago, and it seems to be going well. Apeksha and Hetu are our two engineers who work on the JS editor and all the JS features. So as you can see, there's been a lot of code reviews here. You can also access the Vercel deploy preview. If you click this, you'll be taken to the Vercel page, and there you can click this to access the deploy preview. So if you want to try it out, Israr, you can try this out like this. So let me go back, and I'll share this link in YouTube Live. Yeah, so that's the pull request right there, and you should definitely try it out and let us know how that goes. It still is work in progress, so I'm guessing it's going to be quite buggy, but you are more than welcome to try this out and give us very early feedback. You can also check out the code and review the code if you would like. I'm sure Apeksha and Hetu would more than welcome that. Uh, okay, then. So with this, I'm gonna end the community call. Thank you so much for joining us today, and I'm excited to start the year 2022 with all of you. And uh, please keep an eye out for all our new features, and we'll keep doing a community call every week. So do watch out for it. And with that, take care, everybody. Thank you.